Okay, so today we are going to look at how to make the airfoil spars for the glider project that's posted on my blog. So to do this, we're going to use the extrusion tool here in Tinkercad. This allows Tinkercad to be actually a much more useful tool than I ever thought it could be. So the extrusion tool is one of the featured tools. So I'll go from basic shapes down to featured, and it shows up as the first tool top left. We'll drag it to our workspace, and it sits there. Now, I'm really going to work over here for my object. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this to the left, pull this to the right. They're on sort of the same plane still. I'm going to move this also up to that same line there. I'm going to have to shrink this down so they're on the same plane. They're on the same plane there. Now, it's too big of a hump right there. I'm going to move this forward for my airfoil. Really need to pinch it down up front. Oops. Need to get the other tool, pinch that down a good bit. Pull it down so it's flat still, like so. Really got to pinch this one on the left-hand side down to a point. And I have to bring it also down so that it is flat. Now, can I see that any bigger? Probably about as good as I can get there. And let's see, there's the box. Can I bring the box down? Yes, I can bring the box down just a little bit. We're going to shrink that down to a point. Awesome, looks good there. Still just a couple of boxes too high here. Looking pretty good now at this point. Maybe flatten this up just a fraction. Alright, to me that's looking pretty darn good. Alright, so I now have my airfoil right there. Oh, I do like that. So, that said, I need to have some way to attach my airfoil to its base plate. So I need to make the base plate, really. So I'm going to come back to our shapes, and we're going to go back to our basic shapes, and I'm going to go to a box, bring a box out here, line it up so it's kind of near the top, and I'm going to make this box just 2 millimeters tall. So it's just a flat square. Alright, now I'm also going to make this thing down here so it's just 6 millimeters wide. That's all I care about. And I'm going to make that 200. So 200 should make this go all the way across top to bottom. We're using our full space right there. And I can begin to move it up to there. Perfect. Now, grab a second box, bring it over here. It is also going to be, I need to grab the center box there. Also make this just 2 millimeters tall. This box is going to be 6 by 6, I think. 6 by 12 there. And now I'm going to move this into the center over here. I believe that this is probably our center line right there. So I'm going to have it on 3 and 3, just like so. So now 3 above, 3 above there, 3 below, 1 in there. I'm going to zoom out so I get the whole thing. I'm going to select this whole thing right there, and I'm going to unionize that. So it says group, union. Now it's one real object, not two objects. And it looks good to me. I like the way that looks. I need to make one other object, and that's going to be this hole. So I'm going to cut a hole into the bottom of my airfoil so that I can then put the airfoils on top of this base plate and line up the airfoils so it'll allow me to fold over a piece of paper to create this wing. So I don't care really how tall the hole is, but I do care that it is going to be 6 millimeters wide. That's the wide of the bar there. And it needs to be 2 millimeters there, like so. It looks good to me. I am going to zoom in a good bit here, and we're going to move this thing over to our In fact, I should move this towards the center so it's a little bit easier to see. Now we're going to move our box, our hole, and I'm using the arrow keys on the keyboard to do this. And I'm going to zoom in a really good bit here, just to see if that's in the right, perfect spot for where I want that to be. Actually, maybe a little bit, yeah, right, maybe right there. Okay, to me that looks pretty darn good. So, if I now unionize this thing, or group this, those two pieces, and group them, I should have a hole in that spot right there. So there it is. So, of course, this thing is still too tall, so let me move this down so that it's also just, we'll make this one 3 instead of 2 tall. So if I do this at an angle, there's our base plate, there's our pieces here, and the cool thing is I can select this guy and do Control-C, Control-V, and now I got another one lined up right there, but of course I don't want this in that position. I'm going to have these more vertical, but we'll print them like that. So we can line up a few of these guys here. But overall, we will be attaching these guys in the position of this one right here when they finally get assembled, but we will print a bunch of these together. And it's good to print a bunch of these spars. We needed probably at least 4 for each side of the base plate. And there we are, and we're going to call it quits. Let's look at the top view again just for a second. And zoom out a good bit. Right there. Man, it's hard to zoom out fast in this thing. I was zoomed in pretty far. So there we are. There's the base plate, there's our pieces, and this is how we make the shape for that airfoil. And that is it.